Well, you might notice that Project B.E.A.S.T Command Central is a little empty today. Taking a bit of a break before we commit to our next part of the mission, which is save any Kerbals that just, got lost or didn't make their way back home. Sounds pretty easy to me, but we've sent over a save file from our game to San Francisco to see if they can run a couple of simulations before we get started. Now granted, we won't launch this video till we're all done with our mission. We don't want to, taint our knowledge with probably the wrong way to do it. But I have it on good authority that they're gonna get some help over there, and I'm really curious to see what they do after we're done with ours. So, without further ado, take it away, over to you, Drew.
My fellow Americans, it seems that rogue space program Project B.E.A.S.T has stranded multiple Kerbals in orbit. This is unacceptable, and as a result, I have chosen to shoulder the burden of rescuing these brave souls, but I cannot do it alone. I've only played a few hours of Kerbal Space Program after all. So, I have assembled a team here. First up, Mr. Josh Shaw of GameSpot.
Hello, Drew.
Kerbal expert.
Finally,
of the San Francisco office.
I've been watching their progress with what could probably best be described as shame, representing CBSI in all the worst ways.
Yeah, because you know how to play this game.
I've played this game more, you could say, than Vinny by probably like 200 hours.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But Josh, I don't think you and I can do this alone, which is why we have enlisted the help of, let's call him an aviator?
An explorer.
An explorer, an intrepid man.
A hero.
A hero from the internet, Mr. Scott Manley.
Hello.
Scott, I didn't know you were a World War I flying ace also.
I have many talents. Many talents.
And many hats, as it were.
I wear many hats.
Including that one. Welcome, Scott, to the Giant Bomb Studio.
Happy to be here. Although
you have a YouTube channel devoted to such space games as Kerbal Space Program.
Space and science. At the same time.
We're gonna need both of those to rescue these dumb Kerbals.
Yes.
What is your YouTube channel name, if you don't
it's
mind
Scott
plugging
Manley.
yourself? Okay, great.
I have very little imagination when it comes to such promotional matters.
L-E-Y. Manley.
L-E-Y. M-A-N-L-E-Y.
Okay. Let's jump in here. Vinny gave us our save, or he gave us his save that we are going to use on our PC and try to save his Kerbals.
Project B.E.A.S.T.
Yeah.
Does that stand for anything?
I don't.
It does. It was something like engineering and space team. I forget what the B stood for. And then they changed
Baller.
"and" to aeronautics or something.
Okay. Well, let's take a look and see what's going on. We've got 3 spacecraft in orbit. We have Moonshot Next Hope with Dudney Kerman.
Are all those capsule icons stranded Kerbals?
I can't tell whether they have fuel or not. We have Bob Kerman out there.
So there's a handful who they've gotten back to the planet, but I think they don't know about the recover button.
Oh, wow. Oh, my
them
God.
back.
Bill Kerman is doomed. He's going to leave the sphere of influence very, very soon. In 28 minutes and 33 seconds, we need to come up... Well, basically, if he escapes, I can't get to him in that time. His velocity is 248 meters per second, so I have a cunning plan.
You're going to try to rescue this guy?
I think I'm going to rescue... Well, I think, first of all, we're going to stop the bleeding, right? Stop things from getting worse.
So you're jumping in... I've played, like, maybe an hour of this game.
Okay.
Like 3 years ago. So I may need a refresher on what you're doing. You jumped into his ship.
Yes, we can actually jump inside his ship.
Whoa!
Yes, look at that. We can see, but he has no fuel, right? In the top right, we've got no fuel, no monopropellant.
Okay.
And somewhere down there, I guess, there is the planet Kerbal. But he is escaping. And so my cunning plan is that he's moving away from the planet at 258 meters per second, but he has about 550 meters per second of delta V in his spacecraft, in his EVA pack. So I am going to slow him down. So I'm just going to fire these engines and watch as he...
So you're negating the
I'm going to
velocity
make
of the
sure...
craft.
Exactly. So we're going to slow him down. The spacecraft is going to fly off into deep space, but because I'm doing this, it'll make it a lot easier to capture him. So hopefully...
Yeah, the concern is if he got out of Kerbal's orbit, then we'd have to rescue him from an orbit around the sun.
Yeah, that would be more complicated. Whereas this guy can sit in his spacesuit for a little while and he may have to poop in a diaper, but...
I like that you say more complicated. I would have said impossible. I mean, I don't even know how we're going to do this, so...
I think we're going to do this as carefully as possible.
Okay.
We're going to, challenge. Let's just take a look at the orbit. I think, actually, we may have put him back inside, but... But he's going to encounter the moon. It's there. We fixed that. Backwards. That's what I wanted.
What is happening?
That is the orbit changing as I am firing my little rocket motors to slow myself down.
Okay.
And I'm kind of concerned that this thing was firing in the wrong direction. Okay, that's the way. We're going to slow that down. I was making a slight mistake there. I was not the professional that I was.
What is this? Apoptosis height?
Apoapsis. That is the
height.
altitude, the highest altitude this thing reaches. And we should now be on a stable orbit, except that we will encounter the moon. If I was being really smart, I could try and put him into a capture orbit that would avoid that, but if I had alarm clock, I could do this.
I mean, impacting the moon...
Impacting the moon
to me is more beneficial, I think, than just floating through space.
It takes care of the problem.
And also that.
But if he passes close to the moon, it's entirely possible that he ends up getting kicked off deep into space again.
Oh, because of the moon's gravity?
Yes. Okay. So he's going to have a close encounter, and that's going to change his orbit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to fall down and fly down to periaps, where I'm going to do a little more rocket thrusty stuff, and hopefully put him safely into a captured orbit that doesn't encounter the moon, and then we can go and rescue him. So this is Guy, we're just going to solve the problems first. It's so much nicer doing this in Kerbal Space Program 1.05 because they now have a nav ball. Previously, we had to do this by guesswork. Okay.
That little journey took like 3 weeks.
That took 3 weeks, during which he is pooping inside his suit, right?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, so let's try firing these engines. There, you see? We're just slowing that down. I mean, I could have tried to pluck him out of space, but I think this works. We're just slow.
Wow, so you're able...
And this is just using
You've done all
the
this
suit.
just using a suit.
Yeah. So these suits have about 550 meters per second of RCS thrusters, which is frankly ridiculous. So you may have seen that they actually develop like rocket packs, thruster packs, EVA packs for the space shuttle program, right? Famous shot of Bruce McCandless floating in space.
Right.
Turns out that those, as impressive as they were, could only manage 25 meters per second.
Wow.
So these are...
That's cooking.
That's, well, yeah.
Like if you're trying to like go by something and grab it, 25 meters per second, that's too fast.
Yeah. And so, funnily enough, in The Martian, I think the EVA suits are modeled on that if you listen to the amount that they're talking in terms of their delta V. Okay, so now we've got him rescued.
Okay, great.
These studio lights.
Too much for that leather cap. Get comfortable, Scott.
Okay. So what have we got actually in terms of rockets? Dino Wing, the Kerbal's Ark.
The Kerbal Ark, I believe, was their rescue craft.
Yeah.
The Luna Lander is their current machine.
Whoa. Oh boy.
Oh, sorry.
What do you mean? What's wrong with that?
Oh, they discovered
Wow, do you
solar
think they have enough
panels.
solar power? That is a real.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no ion thrusters on this or anything, is there? They're just like, yeah.
Do you unlock stuff as you play?
You can.
Okay.
If you want to play it, you can do it in sandbox mode, or you can unlock things.
I think this is a lost cause.
Really? You can't even save it. It's just-
No, I think what's more important is saving these pilots first.
Okay. I believe there's another one called
What's
Moonshot
Kerbal?
Final.
Oh, wow. Why are we using that?
I think they wanted some room for passengers.
That's, yes, I
Was the
guess they do
thinking.
need room for passengers, but you could just take some people out beforehand. Ah, wow.
Would you say Vinny has a maybe a Russian space program approach to Kerbal, where you just strap engines on everything?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the stock Kerbal X.
Okay.
This is a classic. I mean, would you like me to go and toss out their stuff?
I mean,
I don't know.
I would like to see you try to pilot some of their crafts.
Oh well, okay.
But we don't have to do that right now.
Let's take the Kerbal's arc. It
Okay.
looks like it's got a lot of stuff, but I think we might need to adjust this upper stage a bit.
Vinny did send me some notes. Let me see if I can.
He's sending us notes already. Okay. Yeah. This needs. What this needs is an upper stage that makes sense. So actually, this is kind of backwards here. Okay, let's stick that on. He's got a good idea with having these RCS thrusters and all that, but I think
Oh yeah, you'd want that on the.
I want that on the pod, right? So the pod
Right.
can fly around. But I think what I'm also going to do is just straight up add a little stage in there that will give me a main rocket engine to maneuver around with.
Okay.
And actually, the best way to do this, I just don't know if this will be able to survive reentry. Have you tried reentry with this?
I've never flown that cockpit before.
I do not know whether this thing can safely survive re-entry. That is my fear with this thing, because it is an aircraft cockpit. It doesn't really have heat shields. I could put a heat shield on it, but
If you're just gonna get one Kerbal, it depends how many you're trying to rescue, I guess, because you might not need such a large.
I mean, I
command
kind of
pod.
like this lower stage here, right? Because this has just lots of thrust and insanity. And I totally vibe with that.
Okay. So it's not a complete wash.
It's not a complete wash. no.
Okay.
Okay. I just think that what we should do is ditch this and replace it with a sensible capsule.
Okay.
We'll put on the 3-man capsule, wherever that went. It's in here somewhere. It magically appears and is invisible. There,
Aha.
see? Oh!
Oh, no.
Oh no! I ruined the whole thing! Control Z. Oh wow, that really ruined it.
Whoa.
So much for my professionalism. Let's load the arc again. Don't save. I like that though. One more try on this. With
How has Kerbal 1.0 been?
well, I mean, other than being hugely popular and successful, I mean,
Yeah, I mean as a 1.0 release.
oh, it's been pretty. Although the 1.0 release was a little flaky.
Okay.
But 1.01 immediately fixed a bunch of things,
Okay.
and then 1.02 broke things, and 1.0. You get how it is. So 1.05 is an interim release because they were trying to port everything to Unity 5 and give basically get 64-bit capabilities in. And it turned out that was taking too long, so they did an interim release which added a bunch of new jet engines and things like that.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. I'm gonna stick some radiators on the side here. Oh dear.
What do those do?
Those will just keep us cool during re-entry. We might need to worry about that. Stick a couple of photovoltaic panels on here as well that will give us power if necessary. And then, so I think I might be able to rescue all three. What we'll do is we'll put a probe body in here. Maybe in here, just up here. Put a little probe body in and have the probe do all the flying. And then once we get any crew, we can bring it back safely. So we'll just ditch all the crew completely.
I didn't even know that
Yeah.
probes existed.
Send them
Yeah,
out.
probe let you fly unmanned vessels.
Wow.
unmanned vessel.
Okay. Every Kerbal fan is gonna go, Drew. Where have you been? I like to enjoy Kerbal from a distance. Let's say.
Yes, a safe distance.
Yeah.
Minimum safe distance. Yeah. Did you see the SpaceX launch last week?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah. Did you see the rocket landing
Pretty fantastic video.
and then falling over
Oh no.
ever so slowly?
Oh no.
The amazing thing is that rocket is the size of a 10-story building.
Really? You
So-
do not get that in the scale.
You do not get that in the scale. When it falls over, people think that it's falling over in slow motion. No, that's real speed. It's just
just
so
huge.
massive. Yeah. Okay, this is going to give me about 1 kilometer per second delta V. I think we might actually have trouble getting everyone on this one mission, but let me see what we've got in terms of delta V. 8 kilometers per second.
You work with what you got.
Well, I think maybe if I extend this, right, we'll just do a double length version. There, that should give me plenty of room, and we'll have RCS if necessary, so I can ditch that, I guess.
Okay.
I'm just trying to create a rocket that will handle everything we need to. Oh, that's an ASAS. You know what? We don't need an ASAS in there. I think I was messing that up. There, we'll do that. I thought that was a... Yeah, I don't want to do. So we'll add some extra mass here. It will reduce our delta V on that stage, and then that's our decoupler there. I think that's a decoupler. Yes, that's our decoupler. We don't need these. And I think these are added to for control purposes, so what we can do is actually replace these with Werner engines,
Okay.
which are little vernier thrusters that use the liquid fuel in these tanks. We're gonna add some struts here. You know, now I think about it, let's add some aerodynamics as well.
That decoupler's pointed the right way, right?
What?
That decoupler's,
That's a very good point.
are the arrows supposed to point up?
I think maybe
Oh,
I
okay.
should just do that,
Yeah.
and then this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the aerodynamics on here just to help.
Aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looks are everything.
this is going to look way cooler. We're not going to have any launch escape system because there's nobody going to be on it during launch, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, and
Maybe
yeah,
a surplus of fins there?
surplus of fins, as long as they're in the right
fins.
place, is good. Although I have to say, I would move these fins downwards.
Why is that?
The reason is you want your control surfaces to be further back during launches because it's the old rule that the center of drag has to be behind the center of mass. So I'm going to call this Kerbal Archangel because it's going to go for the rescue or something, right?
Sure.
Okay. I think let's just check our staging on this. These rockets fire and... Okay, you know what? We can also do another thing here. We could do something called asparagus staging.
Sorry.
Asparagus staging is where you fire up the middle engine and then you feed fuel into it. So the idea is that you get an extra engine burning during launch. I'm not going to do full asparagus.
Never go full asparagus.
Never go full asparagus if you don't have time. Now, what we're just going to do is make sure that middle engine fires and it drains fuel from the exterior. So that gives us extra thrust during ascent. So we're going to ditch these, and that should not fire until later. Okay. We're going to fire, and then these will be burning for a little while. That engine should fire in this stage. And then we've got 2 decouplers here, so we'll fire those separately as well. So that gets us everything, and we'll make sure nobody's in it. Nobody's in it. Launch. Okay,
You ever launched a rocket and oops, someone's in it that wasn't supposed to be?
quite often.
Stowaways?
Ah, yes, that's the subject of a movie, but we'll talk about that. There's a hilariously bad Stowaway to the Moon movie that was made. Oh crap! I meant to look at it rather than. Okay.
Oh, this guy's got fuel.
Does
Oh,
he?
This might be the one that...
Oh, he's got fuel. Wait.
No, it doesn't have oxidizer.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't have monoprop. Okay, well, that's fine. I was just gonna I was gonna target this guy because I want to make sure that we can bring him back. Yeah, there's a 70s movie called Stowaway to the Moon, which is like a made-for-TV
Really?
movie.
What's that about?
And it's a kid stows away in an Apollo moon rocket.
Huh.
It's so awful and hilarious, but...
They must have remade that.
I keep switching to the wrong one here. Where's my damn spaceship?
They made a similar movie called Space Camp
Yes.
in the
That is just
80s
ridiculous.
or early 90s.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Kerbal's arc, Kerbal's... Man, it... Okay, this is where it gets kind of hard. I'm now trying to select...
Oh, uh-huh.
It's only... Okay, you know what? I'm going to switch to this one. I might have to just go back. Yeah, okay. Go back to the Space Center and select this damn thing on the pad.
Yeah, I mean, it's for reasons like this that I think Kerbal is a little overwhelming for people. It's like... I just loaded up these saves and had to like come and get you, Josh, and be like, is everything here? I don't know where everything is.
Yeah, does this look right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Don't worry. So wait, Moonshot Next Hope. That's the one we're going to go after first.
Okay.
Because we're here. Wait a second. No, where are we?
You're in the dark.
We're right here. So we got to wait for this thing to align with that orbit. But I'm going to target it. Set as target. Okay. And what I'm going to do is view the Earth or the planet from this angle and then accelerate time forwards. The idea is that we want to be exactly under that when we launch so that we can get into the correct orbit. And unfortunately, we have no electric charge, but that's fine because as soon as we fire these engines... Okay, we ran out of electric charge. That's because we were sitting on the pad for too long.
Maybe
so
it's because we don't have a launch clamp.
We could have put a launch clamp on that, but that's fine. We'll just build another one and stick it on the pad. These things happen. Stranger things have happened in real life. Rockets have been launched for the most bizarre, or lost for the most bizarre reasons. A couple of years ago, there was a Proton rocket which was lost because one of the sensors, the accelerometers, to detect whether it was accelerating, was installed upside down. So they thought they were going down when they were in fact going up, and they tried to turn around, and if you flip a rocket upside down, you will not go to space today.
Wow.
Yes, true story.
Well, I mean, there was that widely publicized one about the Mars lander.
Yes,
Who was converting metric to imperial wrong.
That's right. They had their burn in feet per second, and then they converted it to a burn in meters per second. So I'm going to have to try to fire my rockets off towards this pink thing, roughly. That's where I'm going to go.
Okay.
So let's see how this flies. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Go! Oh, not so bad.
Okay.
Yes, we're just going to watch these things go down, and I'm immediately going to start turning... Oh, wow, this is super stable. For now.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Yeah. So I'm just going to start arcing this over.
And you're manually flying this?
I'm manually flying this. Okay. There's no autopilot or anything. The only thing I'm doing is getting stability control here. I'm going to bring up my orbital and my surface details and just stick them down here. These numbers will let me figure out how I'm doing. Okay, this thing might actually just tear itself apart.
Getting some shimmy.
We're getting some shimmy, yes. Bit of precision on the long axis. So you guys like The Martian?
Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good.
that is
Best
great.
comedy of the year. But it was. I mean, it made a lot of people smile and feel good about things like space.
Yeah, science is fun.
Science is fun. Oh, so we're draining fuel from all tanks. That's fine.
Oh yeah, heating up.
Okay, now I've realized that I haven't figured out what altitude I want to be dropping out. It's okay. This is perfectly normal.
Are you just gonna blow by him?
What?
Are you just gonna blow by?
No, we're just I'm gonna stop the engines for now.
Okay.
We're floating into space. And what I need to do now is fire these engines back up again. We're just gonna try to align these things a little. So I need to go a little more north here. So what I'm looking at is this descending node marker here. This is where the orbits cross, right? And we want these things to cross somewhere nearby, somewhere where I can control the burn and get us exactly.
Okay, so they're not intersecting yet.
They're not intersecting. I'm coming in from below. He's around there, so what we'll do is get onto the same orbit and then we'll just try and interact. We'll try and like...
Spin around?
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll do a couple of orbits to synchronize ourselves and then get ourselves lined up. So now we're getting close. And that's us pretty close. So we've crossed that orbit.
Nice.
And he's going to come around. I'm going to burn into this orbit and then...
When do you want to speed up and when do you want to slow down to like intersect?
So here's the thing. This is something that confuses a lot of pilots. If you are in front of somebody in space, like if you're just behind somebody in space and you want to catch up on them, you actually have to fire rockets away from them.
Away from them?
Yes, because what will happen is that will put you into a lower orbit and then you will move faster than them and then catch up. And this is like quite common. This happened in Gemini 4. The crew were supposed to rendezvous with their booster. And so the booster was behind them, so they turned their spacecraft towards them, fired the engines for a couple of feet per second, and then they began to move towards it, but as they moved around the orbit, they began to move away from it. And they thought, wait, this is weird. So they corrected and they burned again and they kept this up. And for a couple of orbits, they were just going around in circles, basically. So yeah, crew of Gemini 4, like actual NASA astronauts get confused about this as well.
Wow.
It was Buzz Aldrin that wrote the book on Rendezvous. They actually nicknamed him Dr. Rendezvous. Yeah, it's easy to forget that Buzz Aldrin, as well as being a badass, space hero, was like actually a pretty awesome academic that knew his science, knew his math, and can swing a pretty good right hook apparently. We all know about that incident. It was his birthday yesterday as well, I think.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like
Nice.
he's 89. I don't know. Like he's just awesome.
I met him once.
You did?
Yeah, on the USS Hornet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome place. I like the Hornet. It's a great place to go with in the Bay Area. Okay, have you done the underdeck tour of the Hornet, like the super secret flashlight tour?
Yeah, well, not flashlights. We just went to like the galley and stuff.
Oh no, like you can get down into the engine rooms, like into the shaft, the turbine shaft room. Okay, there, ditch these.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's us. Now here's the thing. Look at that.
That's
beautiful.
super cool.
That is beautiful. Okay, so we just gotta fire these engines a little faster. Uh-oh, we get a bit of a shimmy picking up here.
A little wiggly.
Little wiggly. Wiggle it just a little bit, but that's fine. Wow, we're gonna have more than enough fuel here. This is awesome. I say gonna have more than enough fuel. I have no idea if we're gonna have enough fuel. I'm just guessing my way through this. Okay, so I'm gonna get this pretty close to my burn and then cut the engines and we'll see just how close we are. So what's gonna happen is this guy's behind me, right? And I'm gonna go up and over, and because my orbit is higher and longer, he will catch up on me and then we're gonna meet here, in theory. In theory, I say.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna adjust this, and these little markers are gonna show us how close we are. So I'm just gonna actually just nuke this. See this? When I mouse over it, it's gonna tell me, look, the separation is decreasing, 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 decreasing. See how close I can get it. Oh, and the whole idea will be moving roughly the same direction. Okay, 9 kilometers, that's pretty good. We can make terminal adjustments.
Practically zero.
It's practically zero in space. So that's great. We're going to zip around.
Yeah, the problem that the other guys were having was they got close, but they weren't going the same direction.
Yes.
So they passed really close, but at an extremely high speed.
Yeah. They did it about as fast as possible. I saw that particular... I actually posted that particular clip to my Twitter saying, you guys are having a bit of problems with Rendezvous. And I guess somebody's noticed it. Because I get asked, do you want to come and help? Okay, so we're now in target mode here, which means if we look, that's them, down there. So I got to flip this whole spacecraft around. You know what? I'm going to disable my torque because I don't have enough battery power. That was a stupid mistake on my part. Without torque, we could have some trouble rendezvousing. If the electric charge goes to 0, I lose control of this spacecraft, and so we'll have to do something fancy.
Yeah, that's a bad way to be.
Yeah.
Scott, you seem to know a lot about this stuff. Have you just played a lot of Kerbal, or what?
Well, I studied astronomy during my degree, basically.
There you go.
And that was curiously just enough to make me an expert on how to orbit things.
I would hope so.
So in the early days of Kerbal Space Program, it was posted to Something Awful forums, and I saw people talking about it and discussing it, and there was people saying, "Oh, I think the planet is just an infinite plane and you can't even get to orbit." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a challenge." So I got to orbit and made a video about it, and then started trying to use my astronomy experience to, actually explain some rocket science.
And how do you find that this game is at being accurate with orbital mechanics and that kind of stuff?
It's accurate at the right things.
Okay.
And it glosses over the right things.
Okay.
Right? So there's enough stuff there. So we're down to 700 meters. Look at that. And we should be getting some electric charge back. Yeah, you see, we're back up to 100% electric charge.
Oh, because of the sun?
Yeah, because we have little solar panels. I was smart enough to put solar
Yeah.
panels on there.
Nice.
Solar panels are, well, they're nice when you're close in. So I'm just going to get in closer still. We're about a couple of minutes out now. And we're moving at 40 meters per second. So I'm just going to slow this thing down a little more. So down here, what the nav ball is showing is we're in target mode, and that means that we can see the pink marker shows me where they are, and this green marker here is what velocity, our velocity vector. So we're going to go past it. So what I'm going to do is kind of slow down and push my velocity vector closer to them so that we will get really close. And then we'll just slow down alongside them, and then he can EVA over, and we will have a crew on hand, but his job will not be done because we have others to rescue. Hopefully we will have all 3 in our spacecraft, and not 3 people stranded in one place.
Well, at least they'll be together.
Yes, at least they'll have some company this time. Because, that's one thing The Martian didn't really dwell on too much. It's just what it must be like to be a single person stuck, so far away from everyone else.
With just disco.
Yeah, with just disco. I have to say, I thought the soundtrack was great.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was the best use of disco music in a long time. Like, my wife, goes to like aerobics classes and stuff, and she was saying, "I've noticed they're playing a lot of disco these days." I was like,
It just wraps back around.
I wonder. I wonder if that's something to do. Okay, so we can just switch to this guy. And actually, now I've realized, I haven't even looked at this thing. Can this guy EVA? Oh, he can.
That would have been right.
That would be really harsh to find out.
Look at that!
We would have had to grab them.
No, we'd have to try not ramming the spacecraft to knock stuff off, or ram him maybe to deorbit him. There he goes.
Good news, Dudley, you're rescued. Bad
Yes.
news is you have to rescue everyone else
your
before
job
you can
is
come
not
home.
done. I think we're doing pretty good in terms of, we get plenty of delta V left in this thing. Okay. And the entrance is right there. Okay. Let's hope he can get in. The panel is rather close. Just gonna move in very gently and grab. And board. Yes!
Wow.
That's one down! One!
You made that look so easy.
It was, well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this guy next, because he's further out, but there's a complicated technical reason for why I think I want to go for him next.
Okay.
And what I need to do is figure out where these orbits cross. You see, what's going to take most of my fuel is adjusting what's called the inclination. And so if I go for this guy first, then it's easier to adjust the inclination.
And target him.
Yeah, I'm gonna just try to figure out where my node is. We're gonna go for him next. Because he's... Oh, I did it again!
Are you sure you've played this before, Scott?
What in God's name am I doing? And this is, I'm gonna be like trying to... Kerbal's arcade. And it's only showing me the next hope. Okay, I'll just switch to it and then switch to it. Switch to it. Okay. Once again, back with the incredible. Set as target. So yeah, I wanna boost about here, right? Oh no, wait a second. I'm here. I wanna boost. Unfortunately, I'm trying to figure out the best place to fire my engines to, so I can intersect with him. But it seems that this is in the worst possible place. So I'm gonna fire my engine here in about the next 8 minutes. That'll bring us out. There's not really any easy way for me to do this.
I'm beginning to pick up like what all this interface means.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was going to go for him, but I'm just going to go for these guys.
Okay.
It's going to mean a bigger, harsher burn, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it. So this is the... Yeah, you've put both of the burns at exactly the wrong places. Well, never mind. Add maneuver. We're going to fire this.
Yeah, so do you see those icons match up to the ones on the nav ball when he looks at it? So he's kind of making this node saying like burn forward or burn backwards.
Yeah.
The purple triangles are to change your inclination, but doing that it's the hardest part of this because it costs so much fuel.
It's extremely costly.
Oh, that's to like, if you've got an orbit like this, inclination is...
Yeah. And it's when they tried to do that rendezvous, it was what was the absolute worst thing, is one was vertical and one was horizontal.
So it's just... Wow, okay.
Okay. So, and the other trick is that when you do want to make an inclination change, the most efficient way to do it is as far away from the central body as possible. So, in some cases, it's actually more efficient to go into a way high orbit and then make your inclination change and then come back down. But I think we can get away with this one, so we're going to go for it. Okay, we're 1 minute 33 to the next burn. We're lined up. And I can turn on... I'll turn this back on in a second. Okay, speed up, toggle the torque, and 100% thrust.
So it's, when you say, like, are you scheduling a burn at a point? Like that doesn't happen automatically.
Right.
Time comes up and you say, oh, this is when I've scheduled this.
And then,
Exactly. So what we still have to fly it manually. What we're doing in the map is we're just guessing what would happen. We're saying, what would happen if I fired the engine now, or at this point, and it would predict your orbit forward, and so you can mess around with that without wasting all your fuel. And the idea is it kind of lets you experiment with it without, dooming your crew to an eternally running out of fuel or whatever, right? Okay, so we've got this. So the next thing I need to do is make the inclination correction. We'll do that there. So we're going to match orbits at this point.
It's kind of amazing that this game has made such complex stuff manageable for normal human beings.
Yeah, that's really the...
Not that you're a normal human being, Scott. I mean, you have training in this regard.
Well, I don't know if you saw, I did fly this with I've seen several people fly with real astronauts in this game, and some of them get it, and some of them don't.
Really?
I think that it's a great tool, though. And I'm just always happy to hear when somebody has taken this and they've decided to go and study physics because they played Kerbal Space Program. Like, there are people that have decided to go to college and learn something because of this game, and I think that's marvelous.
That's super cool.
That's the best thing about it. It's not a game without its flaws. It certainly has a learning curve which challenges many. Okay, so it's a 442 meter per second burn. We have 2 kilometers per second in Delta V. We are gonna be all right. How are we doing on time, by the way?
Let's check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I do. I think I can get these guys.
Okay.
So I'm just adjusting this and trying to figure out the best way to intersect. So
Scott's being modest, but he has a lot of Kerbal Space Program tutorial videos on his channel.
yeah, I have a few.
Well, it definitely, that's like how I know how to play this game.
Yeah.
Because the learning curve's pretty extreme, but it's the most satisfying game once you actually get it, because you've learned something real.
Yeah.
Like people say Dark Souls and Bloodborne are challenging, but the thing you learn there is like how to beat the Dark Souls boss.
Right.
Here you learn orbital mechanics.
You can kind of apply that knowledge to like history when you're learning about Gemini or whatever. Like
Yeah.
having done some of that or like understanding the problem in Kerbal Space Program will help you appreciate what those missions did.
Definitely. And it's like reignited like an interest in space for me as well.
Oh yeah.
Just in general, like space history.
So I'm just mucking around with maneuver nodes here to see if I can do something better. But
Is this a lot of this game?
it can be if you are trying to match orbits that have been placed there by somebody that didn't really know what they were doing.
Oh really?
I'm not implying that. I mean, you can spend a lot of time mucking around like that.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I go for the correction here, can I? I think that's what I'm going to go for first. I'm just going to do the correction and then see. You see, it's actually putting my spacecraft about as far away as possible. But I think we're fine.
At that point, you can enlarge or decrease the size of your orbit to catch up.
Yeah. So the thing is, there's an advantage to actually combining your maneuvers into one.
Fuel advantage?
There's a fuel advantage, basically, yeah. So I think I just need to do that. There we go. We'll get these lined up. We'll just make the inclination correction, and then we'll go and try to chase this thing down. Okay, so we get 2.5 hours, and so I can actually line up with this maneuver node beforehand. It's telling me that it'll take 22 seconds to perform the burn, and that should still leave us with plenty of fuel.
And we still have another stage.
And we still have another stage with tons of fuel and reaction control thrusters and everything. We're going to go way, way, way out.
So where are you seeing your maneuver that you've planned?
It's down in the bottom, to the right of the nav ball in the bottom. It says estimated burn 21 seconds.
Oh, got it.
Right,
Okay.
so that's telling me, and the maneuver is the little blue icon on the nav ball here. So that's where you're supposed to aim your spacecraft and make that burn. Oh, and I've overshot!
Oh no.
Oh, you see, I should have used warp 2. Doesn't matter. I'll fix this thing. I overshot just a touch. So we'll just be careful.
Fly by
here.
the seat of your pants.
Yeah, well, been there, done that, right? The most accurate landing of the Mercury program was done by hand. Was done manually. They wanted to show off that the pilots could be just as good as the computers.
Wow.
So I've kind of messed this up just a little, but that's fine. So we're now immediately going to fire this rocket and see. I guess I'll line up there.
Neil Armstrong's landing was pretty precarious too, right?
Yeah, Neil Armstrong, they basically the computer was bringing them down, and it was supposed to be fully automated. That was the original design, but the pilots had the option to take over, not 100% manual, but they could override the computer and say, don't land here. And so Neil Armstrong noticed they were coming down in the middle of a boulder field, and he thought that it would be a good idea not to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did that, and then they had to fly a long way. And there's a famous quote just after landing from ground control where they say they had like 20 seconds of fuel left before they had to abort. Mm-hmm. And mission control comes back and says, you got a bunch of guys about to turn blue here. Which is, fantastic. And it's so true. The guys in mission control are often overlooked, but those guys in mission control were, pretty cool as well. They were really good at solving problems and fixing things and making sure that when something's happened, that there was a solution at hand. And another great example would be during Apollo 12, when the spacecraft got hit by lightning during ascent, and all their power went out. Everything was red light.
Wow.
And there They're just like, everything's going wrong. The astronauts are just like cool as ice. They're just reading out saying, we got the main bus down, we get no instrumentation, blah, blah, blah. And this voice comes over and it's like, try switching SCE to aux. And they're like, what the hell is that? But yeah, one guy back at Mission Control figured out what they needed to do, and they did it.
Wow.
So that saved the mission. What is interesting about that was that afterwards, it apparently came out that some of the guys in Mission Control, or after the accident, they wanted to check everything because the spacecraft had been hit by lightning. Mm-hmm. They were concerned that the spacecraft being hit by lightning might have broken a few things. So they obviously came up with a checklist to make sure everything was reset, but they didn't tell the astronauts that they thought that the parachute pyros might have been damaged by the lightning, and so the parachute wouldn't open. They had no way to test this, and they figured out that they might as well let the guys go to the moon anyway, because it was going to fail. It would either work or fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's... yeah. These guys, as I said, they're badasses. But yeah, so there's some guys on the ground had this whole notion that, well, we're going to the moon, but there's a pretty good chance that when they come back, they're going to die. Okay, I think this is going to be my fastest. So I'll be 275. Oh, crap. These things flickering is really kind of annoying because I can't tell. Okay, I think that might be my best option. They're node in 30 minutes. We're going to line this thing up again.
So you're changing the attitude now of your craft?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these things synchronized. So again, I'm boosting this up into a higher orbit. This is not the way they do this in real life. What they normally do is they target the initial burn a little more accurately. They figure this thing out, and they just kind of come to a stop next to the space station. So I can't do that because I'm not using computers. I'm just guessing my way through this. Mm-hmm. But we get a 1 minute or 1 second burn 30 minutes from now. Again, I'm using time acceleration, obviously, so that you don't have to sit through 30 minutes of me trying to explain spaceships here.
But we could.
We could. Yeah, anything else you ever wanted to know about spaceships?
I want to know what your personal Kerbal achievements you are most proud of.
I think one of my most proud achievements, well, I managed to land on the moon using solid rocket boosters only, which is cool. I recently, though, do you know the Dream Chaser spacecraft?
No.
The Dream Chaser is a little winged space plane, which is going to be going to the space station to deliver cargo. And one of its cool ideas is that they want to be able to basically land the stuff anywhere, right? Which means...
After coming back from?
Yeah, so they want to be able to land it at any airport. That's part of their advertising. And I thought, could we take this a step further? I demonstrated that I could deorbit it manually and land it on a runway. So I thought, could you land it, say, in downtown New York City and deliver the experiment to, whoever was waiting, like door-to-door service? And so yeah, I successfully landed a Dream Chaser style spacecraft in the middle of a city.
Wow, there are cities down there?
You can add them with mods.
Okay.
I'm just not getting this thing. Ugh. I'm just not getting these things close enough. You know what? I think I'm just going to brute force this thing.
Sure.
Let's see how close we come after one orbit.
In true Project B.E.A.S.T fashion, I'm sure.
Yes. I think I've completely screwed this up. But that's okay. We shall fix this.
Looks like you're getting closer.
Yeah, we are getting closer. I think I'm definitely gonna go for this adjustment. Add maneuver again.
How about you, Josh? What was a stick-out moment that you were like...
Well, okay, so I hadn't played the game in a while, and I was watching Project B.E.A.S.T, and it kind of makes me want to do something at GameSpot with the game. Mm-hmm. So in one afternoon, I stranded a Kerbal on Mars. And I did it pretty quick. I was pretty proud. And so now my goal is to have Andy Bauman save him. And he's never played the game.
Oh, that'll be great.
So yeah, he's stuck there, no return trip. His ship is tipped over.
Oh yeah, I remember I tipped over a ship, and then because I was using a mod called Kerbal Attachment System, I was able to attach new rockets and use the rockets to stand it up again.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa.
Which was kind of cool. So that was during something called the Interstellar Quest, which was a very popular series I did that basically included a whole bunch of mods and had me start with the very basic rockets and build my way out to, warp drive capable spacecraft. And there ended up being something of an accidental subplot with another Kerbal that posed as another one. And at the end, we had a problem with the mathematics. So we started getting fuel that was listed as nan, which is in computer science, that's not a number. It's what happens when you try to do things like take a square root or divide something by 0, for example. Sure. It's not technically dividing by 0. So what happened, that started contaminating all my fuel systems. So we started calling it the nanovirus. In the end, they abandoned their homeworld and went exploring because the nanovirus was killing all their spaceships. Okay, I am having a really problematic time here. Okay, just gotta just get this ever so slightly. Oh. I'm gonna try this now. Okay, stop. Okay, that's close enough again. I'm gonna add another maneuver here. Yeah, that first one was clearly fluke. So what I want to do is get this red thing and this thing here close together so I can have an intersect, but adjusting them one way or another is not putting them as close as I would like. I mean, we're basically on opposite sides of this orbit, right?
Yeah.
So I think what I should do is at least fire up my engines and go prograde, and I'm just going to do that here, to be honest. Okay. You're just like nodding along, of course.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Of course, you're flying the spaceship.
Makes sense to me.
Trying to turn the spacecraft around. Basically, because we're so far apart, we would have to take a really long time to catch up. Mm-hmm. And poor guy in spacesuit is telling us to hurry up, obviously.
It's real fortunate these guys don't need to eat or anything.
Yeah, I actually once managed to EVA one of these guys back from a planet.
Whoa.
Via careful use of, various things. Okay, now that's more like it. So again, you see this is chasing this one. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to time accelerate and see how close we get. So you see he's catching up.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's getting closer. And so once we come with a prediction that's past it, then we'll make another slight correction, and then that'll hopefully put us in the same ballpark. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's good. So that'll be where he is, and that's where I am next time around. So the next time, we shall make a subtle adjustment, and we shall land right on top of him and bring him home. Or at least tell him that he has to go and rescue his other friend, who I will say he's been in a spacesuit on his own for a long time. So he could be either space crazy and homicidal, or at the very least he will probably be smelling of poop.
I read an article recently that it basically said like space madness is real, or it was real. Like there's a they call it the break-off. Are you familiar with this?
I don't know about this.
Like I think it was before the astronaut program where they had pilots go way high, like 70,000 feet, and they said that once you reach a point where you can see the curvature of the Earth, you get like a dissociative disorder, and in like two-thirds of people thought it was cool, and one-third of people freaked out and like felt that they were not like on Earth anymore and not a human and stuff.
Yeah.
But for some reason, once we got to the astronaut program, maybe because they were so far away from the Earth, like that sort of dissipated. But they're anticipating it coming back around with things like space tourism. Like normal people going into space and seeing that, oh no, we're actually on this tiny planet, it might freak people out.
Yeah. Well, there is actually something that has been coined as the overview effect. And it's basically that people coming back from space, they are changed, for sure. And they're generally Well, it's suggested that many of them really start appreciating the Earth a lot more. And I noticed, for example, I'm a big fan of the B612 Foundation. Do you know these guys?
No.
They're a bunch of ex-astronomers and scientists that really don't want asteroids to hit the Earth. They're actually based in the Bay Area, and they've been, doing a lot of outreach, designing spacecraft they've come up with scenarios to help a spacecraft designed to help detect asteroids, and spacecraft potentially to adjust the orbit of asteroids. So oh crap! So these are real astronauts. Made a slight mistake here.
Considering a real Armageddon situation.
Yes, this is a real thing, right? This is
Are
not
any of them oil drillers?
No, but you know what? Every single one I've known has been so badass and great at everything they do. I suspect they could do that.
Okay.
Funny, Chuck Yeager, the guy that broke the sound barrier. I believe his dad was in gas, gas pipeline guy.
Really?
And that was one of the things that apparently he learned how to work with pipes and everything, which made it perfect for him to fly a supersonic aircraft that had a rocket engine in it.
It's a big pipe under pressure.
Yeah. So because there was a lot of piping. I mean, rocket science. A lot of rocket science is just figuring out how to pump enough fuel into the engines as quickly as possible. Like, actually building the rockets in Kerbal Space Program, it kind of ignores a lot of these things. I'm just going to fly towards this directly. I'm totally abusing this.
Because you've got infinite flow rate? You don't have to worry about getting enough fuel.
I have plenty of delta. I've got 2 kilometers per second of delta V, which should put me in the right place. Okay, 50 meters per second. So now we're going to turn this around.
Yeah, there's no engine design. It gives you the stats of an engine, and then you plop it on any fuel tank, but...
Yeah, there's no need to worry about fuel pump direction and things like that. And the fuel lines are able to pump at infinite rates.
Right. Okay.
And even pumping between engine or fuel tanks like that isn't something that's pretty common in real life.
Yeah. So SpaceX are potentially going to do that with their Falcon Heavy, but not during the first Falcon Heavy launches, as I understand it.
It's a cool idea, but to get the fuel going that fast.
What's the benefit?
It means that you have more fuel in your middle tank if you can pump fuel from your outside into your inside and then ditch those external engines.
Once those dump off, you've got a full tank still ready to go, instead of one that's half empty with all the extra space and weight.
Right. So Falcon Heavy, I don't know if you know, it's going to fly this year for the first time. It's basically if you take 3 Falcon 9s and strap them together. And
is this the human?
It's not human. It's going to potentially do that, but the whole idea is it's a SpaceX rocket that can carry a lot of mass into orbit.
Right.
They think that when they finally get it set up to its full potential, when it realizes its full potential, it'll be 50 tons into orbit. So that'll be pretty sweet.
Wow.
And that'll be launching later this year for the first time. And then as they progress through it, they're thinking that they're going to add fuel crossflow to it. They originally wanted to add fuel crossflow, but I think the early launches aren't going to have it simply because they want to test everything else first. What happens when you strap 3 rockets together. Okay, so we're going to get this guy. I'm just going to fly in as close as possible and then killer velocity. I kill velocity a lot in this. Velocity has been murdered repeatedly during my series.
Scott Manley, Velocity Assassin.
Velocity Assassin.
Serial velocity killer.
Yes. Stop.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Now, Bob, it is your turn, and he is able to escape. Good. Leave this behind.
This is when they found out about blue lights.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Where's my spacecraft? There it is. There. Okay. Kerbal's Archangel. Yeah. What is the time? Oh wow. 1:50. I might have to miss that meeting. Just kidding. I do have a day job that I'm skipping out on temporarily.
Thank you for coming.
It's a business lunch.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very interesting that we're very close together in San Francisco.
Yeah, you're right around the corner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, really. Just a little too fast there. Okay. Board.
Hello?
Yay!
Nice. Awesome! Now, target this guy. Set as target. Bill, we're coming for you. So actually, that's better because now we can do this burn here. Bring our apoaps up. And we'll then do... I'm going to bring this around here. See, we can't really move the descending node by much, but that's what we'll do. We'll do that, and then we'll match orbits. I think I'll actually go further out here. 187. So we'll do that, and then we'll chase him down. Okay, so 1 hour, and what I should be doing here is warp to next maneuver, right?
Okay.
That's what
So you don't overshoot
I
the
messed
time.
up. Yeah, so I don't mistake. I made that mistake last time.
It's like a newer feature.
It is, and I'm actually really terrible because I played the game for so long. I sometimes forget that there are new features.
Sure.
Yeah, the retrograde, like, it made it, watching them land on the moon is like, wow.
It
I
made it
didn't
so
have
much
that
easier.
technology.
You kids these days.
But then when Scott started playing, like, they didn't even have maneuver nodes.
Oh yeah,
So
they didn't have the orbital prediction during the first rendezvous videos I did.
Oh man.
I started at like 0.22, I think.
Yeah, I started at 0.07 or whatever it
So
was.
did you have to do it on paper or what?
Well,
The slide rule?
I did a degree in astronomy. You know,
Well-
I had to do all this stuff on paper. You know, you've heard about the so-called new planet that has been in the news of late.
Planet X.
Planet X. It's not going to hit us despite some of the crazier headlines. No, it's discovered based upon orbital mechanics. We're not sure that it's there, but I was pointing out that back in the 1800s, they discovered Neptune essentially by the same, kind of idea, right?
And how is that by how it is affecting other
How
stuff?
it's affecting other stuff. Now, Neptune, the guy, it was the 1800s. He didn't have a computer. He did it with pen and paper.
Wow.
Like, no calculators or anything. He's just proper badass mathematician. Right?
Yeah.
It was Leverrier, the mad mathematician. That's a cool name. I should steal that. Okay, so now, let's try to get these things lined up. And you'll notice that the burn to correct the inclination now is only like 117, so we're super easy on this.
I mean, it looks easy.
Yeah, well, it's super low thrust is what I mean.
Okay.
What I'm trying to look for is where it's going to shift my ascending node and descending node. And it's putting them over there. Yeah, that's actually just about as good as I can manage. Let's do that. Oh. Come here. Come here. There. Okay, and then line up with the maneuver node. And how are we doing in terms of fuel in this main stage here? Oh, we're getting low in fuel here.
Oh boy.
Okay, node in 5 hours, 44 minutes, and then we will initiate the burn. Okay. So warp to next maneuver.
It seems like, I don't know, it seems like you have every confidence in getting yourself out of a jam, which you should, because you seem to have this game pretty under control. Do you ever feel tension when you're playing this game?
Oh god, well see, that's the thing. During the early games, they didn't have save, right? Speaking of features that weren't available. And so flying to the moon, it would take, a long time. And if you messed up the landing, that was it. That was like one of the last times I really felt like proper edge of my seat, fear during a game. The only other time I get that kind of like, heart racing is perhaps when I'm PvPing in EVE Online or something, and that. So it's very hard for me to get that. I'm pretty much a cool cucumber as it goes. Wow. There was a video I did last year where I talked about, Neil Armstrong during his landing, his heart rate went up to like 140 beats per minute. And I wanted to see how high my heart rate would go. So I'd actually I got an exact model of the lunar landing, same altitude, same delta V and everything. So we had to scale the planets up. Hooked myself up to a heart monitor just to see if I could get a rise out of my nervous system. Now, I then pointed out that, well, there was nothing on the line. There was no consequences of failing.
Yeah.
So to really make it, to rack up the tension, I got my daughter to stand behind me with a bowl of ice water that was going to be dumped on me.
If you failed.
If I failed. Okay, so now I'm going to add this maneuver and we're going to slow this down and see if we can just line these up. So, ascending node, descending node. These things are about as far apart as is possible. That's... maybe not. Should I do this or not, I'm wondering.
I think we'll get chased in another orbit loop.
Yeah, let's chase him around it again.
Okay.
We'll try to see where that puts us. Yeah, see, he's fallen down ahead of us. He's going to be going ahead of us because he's in a lower orbit. I'm in a higher orbit. So actually, yeah, this one I might be able to do. If I slow down now here, I'm just totally trying to eyeball this to guess whether I can catch up. And then what I can do is lift myself up. This is a really inefficient burn.
Got nothing but fuel.
But I get tons of fuel now. So the idea being that I'm going to lift... Whoa. I'm going to bounce my orbit outwards to let him catch up on me a bit.
Okay.
And then swing down and try to catch him. I mean, if you have infinite amount of fuel, you can do anything, right? If you have the time.
That's what my bumper sticker says.
Or I could just burn straight at him. What is he, 4,000 kilometers away?
Just plot a straight line. Just, shave off a little bit of that orbit.
Yes, there's a specific name for that type of orbit, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, there, look, I got them pretty close there. So just...
Nice.
See that?
Yeah.
There we go.
113. Okay, let's accept that. And so this is a really stupid burn. You see, what I'm doing is I'm about to fall back, and then I'm going to kick myself back up again, and that way I'll catch up with him sooner, and he has to, use less of his diapers. 9.6 kilometers. Let's go for it. Okay, we're coming for you. We're coming for you.
Hope he's got some podcasts or book on tape or something.
Yeah, he's got his GoPro out there, and he's recording some wisecracks. Unfortunately, he's just been stuck with disco music, right?
Yeah.
What would be worse than disco music to be stuck with? Actually, I'm a fan of disco music, I've got to point out. But, okay, 12 minutes. What would be your least favorite type of music to be stuck with?
A sound effects CD, just like
Martha Stewart's Haunted Halloween Sounds,
Yeah.
Volume 4.
Just werewolf howls,
yeah.
orca sounds,
Yeah.
explosions and punches.
I'm pretty sure that is an enhanced interrogation technique. That's the euphemism that is used, right? Is it not?
Sounds like it.
Okay. But I mean, they put astronauts through this kind of stuff because, well, they can. Astronauts volunteer for all sorts of terrible studies, poking themselves with needles, taking blood, while they're in space. You see the one about the person that's taking all the astronaut pee and then burning it?
What?
It's a thing. They're trying to They're trying to figure out about bone loss.
Oh.
And that's how you do it, huh?
That's it.
You burn your pee?
Well, because what they do is they stick it in a spectroscope, and that will tell them
It's getting further.
it's getting further away, and I'm not doing anything here. What's happening there is the reaction control system is firing, and it's turning me. Okay. You see how I'm wobbling around?
Uh-huh.
That is while I'm wobbling, what's happening is the reaction control system is firing. See that? And that thrust is adjusting my orbit.
Can you turn that off?
I kind of want to use the reaction control system right now to adjust my orbit a little. Well, so there's a translation mode built in. And I'm just gonna take that down to about there, and then we're gonna go for it. We're just gonna burn in. Charge of the Light Brigade. And then we're gonna pick him up. Pluck him from the skies above Kerbal. Where is he? We've got 21 minutes, and he is 145 kilometers. Okay, so he should be visible now. Where is he? So I gotta turn this thing around. I'm not seeing him, but he's out there somewhere.
Could you go to him and see if he can see you?
Target. There we go. I could go to him, but right now he doesn't. He actually technically has enough delta V that he could rescue himself, but I'm going to do this instead. So what I want to do is slow down my relative speed. So again, we're going to point away from him.
Oh, so that speed down there where it says target is relative?
Yeah, that's relative speed now. Because we're in target mode, you can have surface mode, which would incorporate the rotation of the planet. And target mode will do it relative to him.
Okay.
And so by switching back and forth, you can adjust different things here. So I'm just going to try and push my velocity vector towards him a little. And that's now pushed out our rendezvous distance a little, but that's fine.
He's got a jetpack, it's fine.
Yeah, he does. This is like almost like The Martian, the bit at the end where we're trying to capture him. I should almost ditch this stage because it's just slowing me down and all this turning. I'm actually going to fire my engines to bring me in closer and faster because I just want to get this over with. So you see how I've lined these things up? He must be out there somewhere. He must be there somewhere!
Yeah, Bob and Dudley are getting a little impatient, I think.
Where is this guy?
Where is this guy? Turn on your transponder. Distance 87 kilometers and a close approach 6.2. Well, look, we'll see him soon enough. We're closing in at 100 meters per second, but because of the differential gravity, you see our orbits change slightly. So now I'm gonna...
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. He is a little green dot in space. I mean, he really is a little green dot in space, but our targeting system sees him as a green dot in space.
Yeah, green dot.
Ah, yes. Oh, God. You just ditch this stage, seriously.
What a cow.
It's like a giant cow in space.
Flying with a dead elephant on our back.
That's something I need to try in Kerbal Space Program. I did once try to build a flying snail. Elon Mollusk. That was after, do you remember the Warriors winning the parade in Oakland? Do you remember the parade being led by the giant snail?
No.
Yeah, so Oakland obviously famous for Burning Man artists and stuff like that. They had a giant snail car. And on the roof of it, they had a couple of celebrities. They had the mayor, Libby Schaff, and MC Hammer. So yeah,
Sure.
I tried to do that in Kerbal Space Program.
Elon Mollusk is a pretty good name.
Yeah, Oakland is an awesome and interesting place.
Do you try to recreate space
I do some
endeavors
things.
often?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've landed the Falcon spacecraft manually, which is fun. And well, if you remember, just before Christmas, they landed the first Falcon 9 correctly
On the ground.
on the ground.
Yeah.
And Somebody commented, "Oh well, that. You think that's impressive? I just got a parking spot at a shopping mall days before Christmas." And so my Christmas video was trying to land the Falcon 9 in a parking spot. Which, needless to say, resulted in a lot of very singed cars. Okay.
Alright.
Bill! So I'm going to actually move these guys in much closer because Bill has less fuel. So we're just going to do this.
Come on, rookie, park that thing.
I'm going to try and get him in as close as possible. Oh, God damn. Oh, there's the engine burning out. This is now where I need to actually thrust faster because we're losing him.
Oh boy.
We're losing him.
Bill!
Okay, that's actually fine. We're still going in roughly the right direction. But where is it? There he is there. I could actually just... I'm going to fire towards him. That's what I'm going to do. So we're moving towards him at 5 meters per second.
Bill?
There. Okay, so we're cruising towards him at about 3 meters per second. We should be getting there just fine. And I can actually use my reaction control system just to adjust the translation velocity here. Sweet! And hopefully I won't slam into him and smash him, because that would be really unfortunate. So, they actually came up with ideas like this during the Apollo program to rescue astronauts in space.
Oh, yeah?
You ever heard of something called MOOS? Man Out of Space Easily?
No.
It was basically like a briefcase-sized heat shield and rocket. So the guy would jump out of the spacecraft and inflate a heat shield out of foam and, basically parachute to the ground from space.
Man out of space easily.
Yes.
Wow.
It's not man out of space, safest, or sanely. No, it was easily. And then there was another one called
like riding
LES, the Lunar Excursion, or sorry, Lunar Escape System.
Huh.
And this was...
Escape from the moon.
Yeah, so it was if your lunar
Starring Kurt
module
Russell.
had broken, you could take some of the fuel and load it into this thing, and then fly into space.
We're in.
Yeah.
All right, now
Yes.
all that's left is to not burn up on reentry.
That's right. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna not burn up, I hope. I'm gonna burn the remainder of my fuel as I come down low because we don't want that to happen. So here we go. But yeah, the lunar excursion, lunar escape system is actually really interesting because NASA invented the first balance board as a test rig for flying that. You know the Wii balance board?
Yeah.
They built a system like that in the 1960s to see whether astronauts could steer spacecraft by leaning back and forth and adjusting the center of mass.
Whoa.
So, yeah, an illustrious history for that
For the
peripheral.
Wii balance board.
Yeah, the Wii balance board. So I actually did a video a few months ago where I tried to fly a spacecraft that way.
How'd that go?
Pretty badly.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm gonna start burning my fuel. And what I want to do is keep my descent altitude high enough. So that will be. So as I fire my engines, what'll happen is my altitude will drop down. So I want to keep that from getting too low. There we go. We want to keep it around 30.
Does this take into account the angle that you're?
Yeah, so
re-entering?
I'm adjusting my angle down here. So I'm looking at the map and looking at this. It's one of the mistakes that a lot of players make when they're trying to do Kerbal space programs. They spend too much time looking at their spacecraft and not enough time looking at the map. Turns out that most of the time there's not very many things near you. So we'll just check our fuel here.
And we are running with the Kerbal engineering.
Yeah, this is
mod.
an incredibly useful mod because you can calculate a bunch of these like delta V's and things like that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a nerd that wants to break out pen and paper every time, or if you're a modern individual, you can just have the computer do it for you.
Okay.
But having all these numbers is really, really useful. So all I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I slow down as much as possible because I'm not sure whether the heat shield will help me. I do have some radiators that will help keep us cool regardless.
Can you skip off the top of the atmosphere?
It is possible, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay, please don't.
If you're an amateur, I guess is the correct answer to that.
You'd probably come back around and land the second time.
Yeah, but when they did that in Apollo, they only had enough life support for one go. If they missed it, they would be dead by the time they came back around.
Yeah, so the angle that they're talking about for the Apollo one, like in Apollo 13, is like if it's too
We're
steep.
never gonna get back.
Yeah, if it's too
Right.
steep, then you're gonna burn up because you're going too fast through the atmosphere.
Right.
And if it was too high, it would
They
not
don't
slow down
land.
in time.
If this basketball and this softball were placed 40 feet apart.
Yeah. Apollo 13 is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
And rewatching it after a few dozen hours in Kerbal Space Program, it's
Education.
yeah, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. This fuel is burning down so slowly. I could actually use physical time acceleration, which means that the physics engine runs faster, and clearly you guys have never tested that because it gives you the warning the first time you try to use it. So now I've ditched most of that, we should be fine. I've essentially ditching most of my excess velocity.
Okay.
Shaving some weight at the same time.
Yep. So this is us coming in.
Oh yeah,
We're going in. Full throttle.
cockpit loaded.
Right, we could do that. Cockpit loaded, yeah, with
Full of
entire
turds.
crew. Bob, Dudney, and Bill. I guess Jebediah died.
I feel like Bob might have died a few times, but found his way back.
That does happen. Okay. So yeah, we're just burning this fuel because I'm afraid that going too fast might break this thing. I don't know. I've had some bad
And
experiences
can
of late.
fuel explode?
No, but the capsule can sometimes burn up, and I've had that experience a couple of times unexpectedly. So I figure I have the fuel, I might as well just burn the fuel off and let it happen. So yeah, we're just gonna now let that go. Wonder where we're gonna land.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, well actually that's where a lot of rockets actually land. Our thrust to weight ratio isn't high enough for us to unfortunately attempt a propulsive landing.
What is a propulsive landing?
What?
What's a propulsive
It's where you land on rockets like SpaceX does. Did you see them testing their Dragon capsule yesterday?
Okay. Does the Soyuz land like that?
The Soyuz lands on a parachute, and as it gets close to the ground, it fires a rocket for 2 seconds. It slows them down at the last minute.
Got it.
But
Look at that.
It's how you have to
Dragon
land.
wants to do it without a parachute.
Yeah, it's how you have to land on the moon because
Pretty
there's no
much.
parachutes.
Yes.
Sure.
That's another common mistake of new Kerbal players, is they try to land on the moon with no parachutes.
Oh, those solar panels are done for.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't care. I'm surprised actually they're surviving. Oh, there. We
there you
lost
go.
one. Yeah, we're totally safe on this. And we've almost burned all our fuel, and we're gonna land somewhere nicely. There's the second one. 1,000 meters per second.
Here's the fuel.
And ditch that.
Oh,
Whoa.
Yep. Whoa, I'm just gonna keep that burning. I should have ditched that as well. Oh, wait, okay, that didn't quite work.
Oh boy.
Get off
Okay.
of there. There we go. And now we got to wait for this to turn grey, and we can deploy the parachute, and we are victorious.
we made it.
Wow!
We rescued them.
You just saved Vinny, Alex, and Austin.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And thank you on behalf of America.
Failure is not an option.
No, it's not, and it's not where we were today. So, wow.
Yes, we are at home. Oh, that was something crashing into the ground there.
I'm sure it's fine. Didn't land.
There's some more debris over there.
Pulling a Skylab.
Yeah, pretty much.
One epic flight to save the Kerbal race.
And we just got to make sure sometimes things explode randomly.
Touchdown! Wow, the Manley has landed.
The Manley is landed.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
Again, Scott Manley on YouTube. Do you have, y'all got a Twitter?
Yeah, DJ S&M on Twitter. Long story.
Okay. Not going to touch that one. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for rescuing our stranded Kerbals.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Fly safe.